Welcome to the studio. I'm Chef Gordon Rader. Today we're going to talk about tortillas. We're going to talk about tortillas de maíz. Maybe we'll do a little bilingual show today. I don't know if we're going to be able to put up a translation at the bottom of the screen. I think we're having some difficulties with some of our technology here. Actually, they just get upset because they have to do extra work. It's crazy. Tortillas de maíz. What is that? Corn tortillas. There's flour tortillas, and again, we've talked in other videos about the fact that every culture has flatbread for sandwiches, something that's portable to carry things around in your food, because obviously sustenance keeps you working, and so if you can work at the same time as you're eating, you get more things done and you become an efficient empire, right? So this is maseca, and I showed it to you probably in some other videos as well. I know we've used it a lot. I use it a lot at home. Maseca, you can pick it up at Hy-Vee or Walmart. It's a dried corn flour. Basically, in Mexico, when I lived there, you would bring your corn in and soak it in lime, and the husks comes off, and you take that down to the tortilleria, and they would grind your corn to make nixtamal. And that's basically the base for corn tortillas, tamales, gorditas, different type of preparations that way. And again, this is very versatile and it's convenient, and it's not uncommon to see most Hispanic families with several bags of this in the house, because obviously it's very time consuming to take the corn and soak it in lye, take off the husk, grind it. So again, everything's on the back as far as the instructions go. I'm going to make a little bit up of it. I use warm water to reconstitute it until I get a mass. Y también van a necesitar un implemento muy especial que se llama una prensa. You're going to have, I'm just showing off, I'm sorry. You're going to have a prensa, they call it in Mexico. This is a tortilla press. And you can find them at the Mexican market. I think they're like $8 up in Des Moines. I haven't been to the one here recently, but that's a really inexpensive piece. Let me go ahead and put the water in here so we can show you what this looks like, and I'll come back to the press. So a little bit of the water, and again, you can follow the recipe, but again, depending on the temperature and the humidity and the planetary alignments and all these different things that can affect the way things work in the kitchen, I like to add some, try to bring it together with a spoon. And again, most likely I'm going to get my hands in there. I'm trying to be nice and neat and nimble, but we're always have impeccably clean hands. We wash often. And as you see everything start to come together in a ball, now you really have to get your hands in. And this is kind of a forgiving, it's not like you're putting your hands in bread dough, because this doesn't stick on your hands like that does. And I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the bowl so you can actually see it, and we can discuss what we're trying to come up with. So it's kind of at this point right on the edge of being perfect. You want it to come together as a mass, but you don't want it to fall apart. So we're going to let it hydrate. And I think we've talked about that before as well. Things have to rest. You know, at the end of the day, I'm tired. I got to sit on the couch for a couple hours and enjoy Petunia's company and just kick my feet back. So that's what we would do with this. Give it a couple hours. Not refrigerated, because the cold is going to affect it. It's going to be harder to push out. You can, but let's go ahead and leave it out like this. And back to our tortilla press. So if you were to put, the whole basic idea is to put a little ball of this here, bring this down, use the lever. This is made out of cast aluminum. They're also made out of wood. But if you just put it in there like that, it's going to stick to the metal. So I like to use a sandwich bag, and I take scissors or a knife and just cut the sandwich bag in half, so it makes a perfect little receptacle. So I'm going to put one there, and let's go ahead and see if this works. If you put too much in, it's going to come out the side. If you don't put enough in, they're not going to be big enough. So it's kind of a little bit of experimentation to see exactly the quantity that you need for the particular size tortilla, and they're almost always 6 inches. And this is great because if you make homemade tortillas at the house and you make enough of them, you could make enchiladas. So look what I'm doing. I'm just going to squish this down a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead, press this down, come back and put pressure on it. Okay? Now you can see by this first one that we got a little squish here, and so that means I'm going to have to leverage this up a little bit, pull it up, although there's nothing wrong with this, it's perfectly edible. Separate the two pieces of plastic, and there, we're going to do another one so we get one that's perfect. That was just about the right amount of masa de maíz. So let's go back and get another ball of it. And again, this is another one of those neat things that you can bring the kids in, the whole family gets involved instead of sitting in front of the computer having instant messages about what you had for breakfast, unless it was something interesting. You can be helping each other make dinner. It's really neat to share time with other cultures, especially Asians and Hispanics, where cooking is still an important piece of the pie. And everybody's involved, the whole family. So you see I've kind of offset that. Let's see what happens this time. So that's really nice. So you can see we have a perfectly round tortilla. Okay. So again, we're going to do the same thing that we've done with other flatbreads. We're going to go to a hot comal or a saute pan. And so we're going to move over to the stove and get that process rolling so you can see the finished product. So now we're going to take our masa that we've aplastado para hacer tortillas y ponerlo en el sartén que tenemos ahí sobre la estufa. In other words, we've got the fire on with a really thick bottom saute pan, or you can buy a comal. A comal, probably $15 at the Mexican market if you're making tortillas a lot at home, and it's just a big, thick piece of metal, rounded like this with a handle. But if you've got saute pans that aren't, those $8.95 value ones that burn everything, go ahead and grab one of these that are thick bottoms. And again, and I'm going to show you the difference as far as trying to adjust the heat. You can see the nice color that we've got on this guy right here. You've got just a nice little brown, and you see if you get the fire too hot and you leave it too long. Now this is the way I like them. I like a little bit of toasty on them. But they seem kind of brittle when they first come off the stove, but if you watch, you see how they loosen up as you let them set. Now these are all ready to go to the table, just like this with your dinner for the night, or you can save them and make your enchiladas, or you can actually take two of these and put some cheese and some jalapenos and then put them into the pan again and let that cheese melt for quesadillas. And so there's innumerable combinations of things that you can do. Soft tacos, taquitos, right? So you can go ahead and get your fillings together. You've got leftover chicken, you've got leftover shrimp, you've got leftover meat. You can go ahead and shred that up, heat it up, put it in your tortillas and some pico de gallo. You've got some sour cream, you've got some salsa, and so you've got a meal. So this is just another practical application with some very simple ingredients with a lot of possibilities. And if you do a web search too and look for gorditas, that's another application that you can use for these. It's a little bit thicker tortilla, and they fry them. They deep fry them and then open them up in the middle and stuff them with chili or different meats and cheeses. Vegetarian items as well work just great. And it's a great way to have variety with some of the same ingredients that you might wonder what you're going to do with for leftovers. So, good practical applications. Hope you'll come back for the next show. It was fun being with you again. Have a great day.